of us are not living, some of us are just coping beautifully. That people have become so good at pretending. Surviving is not the same thing as you healing. Strength has become the new makeup. I think social media has changed the way people experience pain. It's not every time that you think that you're vulnerable that you need help. You don't have to heal perfectly to heal honestly. Hello, Makamba community. Hi, have you missed me? Because I have missed you guys. Have you been? What's been happening? Has life been lifing you? Has Nigerian economy been economy you? Welcome back to Makamba Uncensored Dialogue. Yes, we've been a bit away for a while, but we're back. And we'll try as much as possible to stay as consistent as you expect us to be. How's it been with you? Today we want to talk about something that is a bit personal, has quite a bit of emotions and maybe a bit of sentiment to it. But hey, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the things we pretend that we are fine about. What are these things that we pretend that we're fine about, where, you have people, relationships, friends, colleagues, family members, and all, and everyone is just moving around pretending that everything is A-okay when everything is not A-okay, Some of us are not living, some of us are just coping beautifully, okay? We're smiling beautifully, looking all dressed up. I have a very good friend of mine who always says that, this cloth covers a multitude of things. And she's so right in so many ways. A lot of us are posing beautifully, smiling beautifully, looking exceptionally beautiful, performing beautifully, doing everything and looking at like everything is A-okay. But indeed, the reality is that a lot of us are exhausted. We are quite exhausted. And in the last couple of weeks, I have probably had over 7 to 8 counseling sessions, if not a bit more, where I've had to wear on my counseling hat. And I've had to do some counseling outside of my other core portfolios of strategy and trainings and all that. And the scary part about what has happened in terms of the counseling sessions I've had, in these weeks is that people have become so good at pretending, that they are okay. They become really, really good at pretending. And even at that, they don't even know when they stopped being okay. They are not even aware when it stopped being okay. When things were not happening the way they were supposed to happen anymore, and they just continued moving with life with what they have worn on this cap, of they are so put together, and in the last couple of weeks, with the number of people that have sat on my couch, yes, as a counselor, and I've had to talk to over a period of time, the young, the middle class, the seemingly elderly, it's become a thing of worry that we have mastered the art of performance, and that's what's so interesting about this generation. This mastering the art of performance, the art of thinking that everything is okay and behaving like everything is okay. We have the expressive generation line of, I'm fine. I'm very, very fine. I'm okay. Everything is good. How are you? I'm okay. How are you? I'm good. I'm very good, And everybody is good. Everybody is blessed, yes. And we take it a bit more religion, How are you? I'm blessed. Okay. Everybody is grinding. Everybody is outside, We now have the hashtags, we are outside, Italawa, and things like that. And then, but behind closed doors, when we finally leave the Italawa and we get back into our homes, people become anxious, the anxiety sets in, people become very lonely, and they're emotionally tired, they are grieving over things. Sometimes it could be material things. Sometimes it could be emotional things. Sometimes it could just be, other things that they've never spoken about, things that I've ever spoken to people about. That's the, I don't want to say the beauty of being a counselor, but that's some of the perks of being a counselor, because these things that they never talk about, they end up talking about them with you, as a therapist, as a counselor. So I think one of the saddest things happening today is this. People no longer ask, how are you really? That's not what's happening. But when they do, people don't know how to answer honestly anymore. It's no more if the question is asked and then you actually do get an honest answer. I remember during one session, this person came in. I'm not going to tell you whether I was male or female. That's why I'm being very, very careful to say person, so that you don't begin to understand where it is I'm going. And then this person came in, and when I did ask the question, it was like, and I was like, so how are you doing today? And the person goes, oh, I'm fine. I'm very blessed. And I'm like, oh, really? You are? And you're on my couch? Really? Okay. So, there are people listening right now to this podcast. People are listening to me on this podcast and who are falling apart, completely falling apart. Your entire system is falling apart. And that's one of the things that, has helped, maybe as a counselor. What people don't understand is that even we also need resetting. And that's why within the counselorship world that we are in, we actually have our counselor's hour and our counselor moments. So those moments are when we gather ourselves, even as counselors that we are, and we actually meet and we are able to detox some of the things that we're carrying. So it's not peculiar to you, because some of you listening to me, you are on override. You go to work, you answer your emails, you answer your phone calls, your messages, you even laugh at jokes, some of the jokes that are created. You are posting pictures, you are out there, you are attending weddings, you are attending parties, you're going to the beach, you are at karaoke nights, you are in different places, but you are out there putting these things out there, putting this kind of positivity about yourself out there, but this deep inside you, you are completely scattered, you are empty, you are down, you are carrying things that nobody knows. And that's some of the things that we get to see on this side of the world, when we wear on our therapists and counselor hats. And because you're functioning, people think that you are A-okay. People think that all is well with you. People think that, you got this. But the truth is, you're just surviving. You are only just surviving. And surviving is not the same thing as you healing, right? You're just surviving. You're on a survival mood. And that's why you tend to get the messages back that when I grow up, I want to be like you. But the real truth is, no, you don't want to be like, because you have absolutely no idea, what it is that I'm carrying at that particular point in time, which is why, some of the moments I cherish the most are those moments when, we have all those counselor half hours and all, and I could get into my safe space, which is what it is, my safe space, and I'm able to detox, at my safe space. So, and then again, I think social media has changed the way people experience pain. People, before people used to heal privately, now people perform with their strengths publicly. Strength has become the new makeup. You understand, where everybody is, you've created a culture where vulnerability now, almost feels illegal, right? And everybody wants to look successful. Nobody wants to look, uncertain. Everybody wants to appear chosen. Nobody wants to admit, right, that they feel lost. And honestly, as a counselor, as a therapist, I understand that because life is already hard. You also don't want to be sharing your very vulnerable moments with people that you don't want to share those vulnerable moments with, because you don't want to be taken to the cleaners. You don't want to see your story on social media. Neither do you want to probably see your story on the pulpit of one man of God preaching, your life history or something. So people learn to wear makeup wear strength like they are wearing makeup on their faces these days. You understand? Everybody just has this thing about, pulling strong. But I completely agree, because people tend to take advantage of people when they have become vulnerable, when they have, sat with them. We are burdened, like doctors who take the Hippocratic oath. We are burdened by, the oaths that we have taken as counselors or as therapists to ensure that we do not discuss, or speak about, issues that involve the clients that we meet. And because of that, I've also managed to carry that into my everyday life. If you're my friend and you tend to talk about your very vulnerable moments with me, you can be rest assured that, hey, you're not going to ever hear me talk about that with anybody else or share that kind of thing with anybody else, because I'm bounded by that kind of, Hippocratic oath within the space of counseling and therapy. So, question right now is, who are you when no one is clapping for you? Who are you? Who are you when the camera is off? Like you don't want to know how many cameras I have in front of me right now, or how much light is in my face. But who are you when the camera is off? When everyone leaves, when the guest goes, when everyone is gone, when the makeup that you nicely did, is taken off, when the motivational quotes stop working, you understand? Who are you? Who checks on you, that supposedly strong person that you're supposed to be, who confronts the you that everyone depends on? Because sometimes, you're carrying a load, that is beyond you, that is bigger than you, that is way beyond what you can carry. And everybody just tends to see you as that very strong person, because sometimes, you are that very strong people that everyone is, you are carrying the pilgrim's progress of everybody else, from time to time. And everyone just tends to see you as this really strong person. But when all these things are taken off, who are you? That's something that I really would want, for you to take a moment or two, about at least 15 to 20 seconds and think about, who are you when all the lights, camera, action is taken away from you? Because, people are pretending that they are fine. Either they are fine financially, whether they are, especially financially, especially within the environments in which we operate, the micro market at which we operate right now. People are drowning in pressure, trying to survive. Prices are skyrocketing, school fees is going off the hook, family pressures here and there. They're trying to send money home. They're trying to even impress people with something that they don't even have, because they have set a precedence, and then they feel they need to continue to be on that precedence, on that pedestal that they set for themselves, So they are pretending, and then the pretense is beginning to affect them. They are pretending mentally. Okay, they're having mental breakdowns. Something is said that was not particularly funny. They are laughing out so loud, but quietly they are battling anxiety, they are battling pain, they are battling panic attacks, they are battling depressions, they are battling exhaustions. I can tell you this for free. I have been down this journey, so I know, and I can quickly detect when people are down this journey, because I have been down this journey before. And I think if you go back and watch a couple of my Makamba episodes, in season 1, you would see one or two of these things that I addressed. I have been down this journey, so it's not peculiar to what you're going through. It is something that I have gone through before, okay? Because you've been hurt from betrayal, you've been hurt from grief, you've been hurt from heartbreaks, you're carrying childhood trauma that nobody knows about. Okay, you're carrying so much, right? And the dangerous thing about unhealed pain is that it eventually speaks. It finds a way of speaking. That's the thing about unhealed pain. If you are not properly healed about something, it will come out one way or the other. Subconsciously, sometimes consciously, but you're unable to hold yourself from letting it speak. So it could come out anyway. It could come out with anger. It could come out with withdrawals. It could come out with silence. It could come out with struggles, which are visible enough, to see. It could come out with bitterness. It could just find a way of speaking. But one thing that happens is that it speaks. And it is something that you have to intentionally and deliberately work on. You have to intentionally and deliberately, try to ensure that you are putting yourself in a position to heal. Okay. And so let's just have just a few seconds of a personal reflective moment, So a lot of us have either taught ourselves or have been taught to survive. Okay. You've been through quite a lot, maybe from childhood, maybe work related, family related, marriage related, in different things. And I can relate in most of it because I've been through, that process. One of the reasons why, the Makamba Uncensored Dialogue, podcast was set up. It was set up so that we could tend to address, some of these things, whether we're doing it solo or we're having guests to come and talk about it, So you're taught how to survive, you're taught how to suppress your emotions, and now as adults, you've gotten into the hustle drive. You're in that hustle drive mode and you don't know when to rest. You don't know when to stop. You constantly want to see yourself doing things and moving, You're taught how to provide as an adult. Probably maybe you're even a single mother or a single father, or you are even married, but issues in the home, but you don't know how to stop. You don't know how to take that rest, and then you're trained to consistently look like you're a very strong person, right? And you don't, want to ask for help. Now, let me address the issue of asking for help. It's not every time that you think that you're vulnerable that you need help. It's important to address that. And this is coming from a place of having spoken to quite a number of people who have sat on my couch and having had personal experience. You are allowed like we would usually say, 5 minutes of fame, 5 minutes of madness. You're allowed your 5 minutes of vulnerability. But you need to be very careful when you're within those moments as well. Because however you react in those moments and whenever you seek whatever help that you seek within those moments, you need to be very careful about it. Because you do not want those moments to be defining moments that, how people now continuously see you to be within that system, within those moments that you have created, because you're going through something at a certain period of time. Very important that I mention that, and I'm addressing this because at some point people don't know how to withdraw, you understand, from that, and constantly see you in that position and constantly want to fit you within that position, and it is not the position that you want to find yourself. And please, it's so important, because you must understand that you cannot fully heal from a life that continues to pretend, that, it wasn't hurt at some point in time. I repeat, you cannot heal from a life you keep pretending that doesn't hurt. And it's so important. Healing begins the moment when honesty begins with you. The moment you stop saying I'm fine and you're not. The moment you stop minimizing your pain, because other people have it worse. The moment you stop performing strength, and start choosing truth, and it's so important that you understand, the process to which you're moving when you're moving towards your healing process, And this is where I start to ask, in Makamba, I always ask a question. I just always ask the question. And one of the questions I want to ask is, what are you pretending not to feel at this particular moment? When you watch this, you can just put it in our comments. Someone will definitely respond to you. What conversations have you been avoiding? There are conversations that we tend to avoid. One thing that I have tried to ensure that I tend to do is to have conversations at every point in time, especially when issues occur. It's very important, because sometimes when we shrug our shoulders and we move our bodies and we say, what, I don't want to talk about that thing now because I don't think it's going to be nice, or somebody's going to get hurt. Those are emotions that you're building, and you don't want that. You don't want to crop up your entire space with, things that you can't deal with. So what are those conversations that you're avoiding? In Makamba season 1, I talked about, conversations that you avoid when it comes to maybe finances, or when you're talking about, your relationships and all. What are those conversations that you avoid? What pain have you buried, under work, under your successes, under relationships, under religion. We bury a lot of things under religion, under entertainment. So we are browsing, we are going through our Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and burying our pain under that, under us being very, very busy. I used to bury a lot of emotions under busyness. I used to get myself so busy doing things. Oh, trust me, that is no longer me. Don't point fingers at me. No, don't, because I know you are doing that somewhere around. Okay? Because buried emotions don't disappear. They just wait. They wait for a time when they would speak. And when that time comes, you had better be ready to handle it, But here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to heal perfectly to heal honestly. You don't have to heal perfectly to heal honestly. And you don't have to carry everything by yourself. And that's why it's so important. I tend to tell people that I meet these days, and I've had counseling sessions in the last couple of months from everywhere. I've had sessions from the US, I've had sessions from Canada, I've had sessions from the from Europe, and of course from Nigeria. So I've had sessions, online sessions, virtual sessions, on-site sessions where people are actually coming and literally sitting on my couch, for these sessions. I've had these sessions, and it is so important for you to understand that this particular episode, for me especially, is not content. This episode is a mirror. This episode is a mirror. A mirror that I need you to take your time to listen to. The moment when you finally admit that you're tired. The moment when you say you are overwhelmed. The moment when you say, if you are grieving, you say you're scared. The moment when you say you are not okay. And listen to me very carefully. There is no shame in saying that you are not okay. There is no shame for you needing some sort of external help, whether from a therapist, whether from a counselor, whether from a very trusted friend. There's no shame in saying, you know what, I'm tired, I just need to rest. That one, I don't have shame. When I'm tired, I rest. Okay, I actually deliberately rest. Okay, there is no shame in starting again. I'm a starter. I've started again so many times. I've lost count, but I'm a starter. I'm the kind of person that, there is no shame in my books in starting again. One day I'll probably do an episode of how many times I have started in my lifetime, and you will be shocked, because I'll be on the outside, people will look like, I got it, you got it, and you got it, everything all together. But I'm a starter. I've started so many times. I probably will do an episode. There's no shame in being human. Okay, it's so important that we know that as well. And I think real strength is not pretending that nothing affects you. Real strength is having the courage to face what you have honestly. And you sit with your truth. You actually sit with your truth. You confront what that pain is or what those issues are. You ask for help, or you seek some sort of counseling or coaching. Okay, and you choose the healing, to become who you are actually directed by God to be. I know that there are so many of you listening to me today. You are carrying so much today. Nobody knows how hard or how much you're carrying, or how hard you've been trying, or how hard you've been putting all the effort. Maybe everybody thinks that you're just one moving truck. I never give anyone that impression that I'm some very overstrong moving truck, because I have created my boundaries, and I know the times to stop, and I know the times to say no, and I know the times to build those boundaries, and I know the times to say yes. I did a full episode on saying no, the art of saying no. I did an episode on that. You probably need to catch that. Okay, no harm in saying no. No harm in saying, you know what, at this particular point in time, I probably don't need this many people around me. I probably just need to have me time with God, or me time with me, and things like that. You need to know. And the whole thing is, you don't have to say you are okay when you are not okay. I speak to myself. I tell myself, when I'm not okay, I'm not okay. And I decide that within this time and this time, I need to take my break. I don't need, anything around me. I just need to take my break. Or I need to join into the counseling half-hour session where I need to plug in with my own people, and I can be, vulnerable within that circle, okay, and all that, so it is so important. And I hope you've learned something from this episode, because this episode, very important to me, very, very close to my chest, which is why I said it's it's a mirror episode, because I tend to want to do things from a lot of experiences that I either have been through or have seen or have been involved in. And you do not need to pretend forever. There is a time when you need to call the shots for yourself and say, you know what, I'm not okay right now, and it is time for me to take care of myself. I hope this episode has resonated with you. I hope it's spoken to you out there. Somebody out there needs this. There are some very, 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 very key episodes we are going to have on Makamba Uncensored Dialogue this season. I need you not to, to ensure that you turn off your notifications. You don't want to miss any episodes that come out during this time. So my name remains Enobong Ezekiel. I'm your host for Makamba Uncensored Dialogue, where we stop performing. We stop performing and we start telling the truth. Until I come your way next time, make sure you share this episode with someone, subscribe, put your comments in our comment section. We'll reach out to you. Tell us what you want us to, talk about. You could share an episode you want us to deal with. We will deal with it, We won't handle it. We will talk about it. We might even bring in experts who can talk about it, But pay attention and make sure that you stop performing and you actually start living so that you can actually heal. Thank you so much for being on this episode. We appreciate you. We love you, our Makamba Uncensored Dialogue community, and we look forward to the next episode with you. Take care of yourself. Be you, do you, and be okay. Mwah.